Do you want to know how the outsiders built the trade? The story of Africa continues. Episode 8. Europe and the Slave Trade. When Europeans first came to Africa's coasts, they came with ships and hunger for gold, hunger for land, and soon, hunger for people. The Portuguese were the first to set foot on the western shores. They built forts along the coast, Elmina in today's Ghana, São Tomé, Luanda. At first, they traded goods, but quickly their cargo changed. They turned Africans into slaves. Soon, other Europeans followed. The Spanish, the Dutch, the French, the British. Each nation racing to carve its share of the trade. They fought wars not only in Europe but on African soil to control the ports, the forts, the lifelines of this human market. From these forts, millions were forced onto ships. Europeans supplied guns to African rulers in exchange for captives. They created rivalries, encouraged raids, and fueled wars to keep the supply flowing. The more Africa bled, the more Europe grew rich. The slave trade became an entire system, a triangle of death and profit. Ships left Europe with guns, rum, and cloth. They reached Africa, where human beings were bought and chained. They sailed across the Atlantic, where those human beings were sold as slaves in the Americas. And the ships returned to Europe, filled with sugar, tobacco, cotton, all produced by African hands in bondage. Europe's cities grew fat on this trade. Banks, factories, and ports flourished. The wealth of London, Lisbon, Paris, and Amsterdam was built on the suffering of Africa. For Africa, the cost was unbearable. Not only were millions taken, but the outsiders turned kingdoms against each other. Where there might have been unity, there was division. Where there might have been growth, there was decline. This was not discovery. It was exploitation. It was not trade. It was theft of lives, theft of futures, theft of nations. The Europeans called it progress. But for Africa, it was devastation. The scars of this trade are still written into the land and still carried in the memory of its people. This is Africa. The story continues.